Hello students, welcome to our new and exciting learning platform Catalyst for IIT JEE. I am Subhendu from IIT Kanpur and today we are going to start our new basic lecture series on gaseous states of matter. So this is a chapter taken from class 11 and this is a very important chapter for JEE Main, JEE Advanced, NEET as well as for all the board exams. So before going to the main part of the lecture, I should say you about the things to cover in this basic lecture series. So before going into the gaseous states, we will discuss the meaning of the states of matter. Then we will discuss the different states of matter with their characteristics. So these two portions will be covered in today's lecture. In the next lecture, we will first discuss the gaseous state and we will discuss the kinetic theory of gases to explain the physical behavior of gaseous state. We will also discuss the molecular speeds and kinetic energy of gases. Then in lecture 3, we will discuss about some measurable properties of gases. We will derive ideal gas equation and we will also talk about some very important gas laws. Finally, in lecture 4, we will talk about real gases and their van der Waals equation. Now, let's come to the main part of the lecture, that is states of matter. So, what does the term states of matter mean? A state is basically a form in which something appears in front of us. And what is matter? A matter is any substance that has some mass and volume. So the term states of matter basically mean different forms of appearance of a substance that has some mass and volume. For example, water or H2O can appear into three distinct forms: ice, liquid water and water vapor. Here the matter is water or H2O and the states of water are ice, liquid water and water vapor. Now, what are the differences between these three states of matter? So, to discuss the physical behavior or characteristics of these three states of water, let's look at these three pictures where three states of water are shown. First, let's come to the case of this piece of ice. So, we can define the shape of this piece of ice. Here, the shape of this ice piece is cubic. So we can say that the ice has definite shape. Also, we can define the volume of this piece of ice. Here, the volume of this ice is the volume of this cube. So we can say that the ice has definite volume. Now, if we keep this piece of ice in a particular position, it will not move to anywhere else. That means the ice cannot flow. Now let's come at this picture where some liquid water is taken in a glass. So unlike the case of ice, here the liquid water has no definite shape. Here the shape of the liquid water is the shape of this particular portion that is filled by the water. That means the liquid water has no definite shape. It assumes the shape of the part of the container which it occupies. Now, like the case of ice, the liquid water also has definite volume. So, for a certain amount of water, the space occupied by the liquid water is fixed. Here, the volume or the space occupied by the water is the volume of this portion. Now, the volume of this particular portion will not change unless we add more water. So if we add more water, then the space occupied by the water will increase. So the volume will be increased. But for this particular amount of water, the volume is not changing. So we can say the liquid water has definite volume. Now, unlike the case of ice, here the liquid water can flow. When it will flow? If we remove the wall of this glass, let's say, and if we make this water free, then the water can move to some other places. That means liquid water can flow very easily along the surface. Here the surface is the floor. Now let's come into the case of water vapor. So here the shape as well as the volume occupied by the vapor is always changing. That means the water vapor has no definite shape and it has no definite volume. Now the vapor here can go to the left side, it can go to the right side, it can go above, it can go below. So it can go to anywhere else or it can flow to any direction. So for water, it can flow along the surface only, but for the vapor, it can flow to any direction. So we have discussed the three states with their characteristics. Now if we think that only water can exist into these three different states, that is wrong. In fact, each substance in nature can exist into three states like water. So these three states are called solid, liquid and gas. Actually the ice is a solid, the liquid water is a liquid and the water vapor is a gas. So here the characteristics or behavior of the three states of water, three states of matter, which are solid, liquid and gas, are given. So the characteristics of solid is basically same as the characteristics of the ice. Characteristics of liquid are exactly same as the characteristics of liquid water, and characteristics of gas are exactly same with the characteristics of water vapor. So now we can say that every substance can exist into three different states, which are solid, liquid and gas. But in addition to these three states, there also exists a fourth state of matter. The fourth state of matter is called plasma. So what is plasma? Plasma is a collection of gaseous ions. And what are these ions? Ions are basically the charged particles, and ions can be generated from neutral atoms by the process called ionization. So ionization basically a process of generating ions by removing electrons from neutral atoms or adding electrons to the neutral atoms. So we can say that we can create ions from the neutral atoms by the process ionization. So we can create plasma, which is a collection of gaseous ions from a collection of gaseous atoms, which is gas, by the process ionization. So we can create plasma from gas by ionization. In nature, there exists a very common example of plasma, that is lightning. So lightning is the example of plasma state. So at this point we all know that a matter can exist into four possible states, which are solid, liquid, gas and plasma. Now, as a chemistry student, we all know that a matter is made of atoms or molecules. For example, consider the piece of solid copper which is shown here. Now, if we take this tiny portion and if we see this portion under a microscope, we are able to see this type of pattern which is shown here. In this pattern, the brown balls are oriented in a particular fashion to constitute this tiny part. Here, the brown balls are actually the copper atoms. So, we can say that the piece of copper is made of copper atoms, and these copper atoms are visible through a microscope. Now, for all four states of matter, as the matter is same, the atoms or molecules will be the same. For example, if we think about the four different states of water, in all four states the molecules will be water or H2O. So if the molecules are same in all four states, why the four states of a same matter have different properties? So to find the actual difference between the different states of matter, let's look into these four structures, which are the structures of molecule of the four different states of matter. So basically we are able to see these structures when we see the four different states through a microscope. First, let's come to the case of solid. For solids, as you can see here, the molecules are very close to each other. So for solid, all molecules are in close contact. For liquid, as you can see here, this molecule and this molecule are in close contact. But this molecule and this molecule are not in close contact. They are far from each other. So for liquid, molecules are in close contact as well as they can be far apart from each other. For gas, as we can see here, all the molecules are moving separately. So for gas, all the molecules are far apart from each other. For plasma, the structure is basically the same as the structure of the gas, because plasma is nothing but the collection of gaseous ions. Now I think we are able to find the difference in these four structures. So what is different in these four structures? If we go from solid to liquid to gas, we can see the distance between these molecules actually increases. So the only difference in these four structures is the distance between the molecules. So we can say that in different states of matter, the only difference is the distance between the molecules. Now, what factors control this distance between the molecules? The first one is the thermal motion of molecules. So what does the term thermal motion mean? The word thermal is related to the temperature and motion is related to the movement. So thermal motion is basically the random movement of the molecules in a system, and it depends upon the temperature of the system. So here the thermal motion of molecules for a particular system is shown. From this animation you can see that each and every molecule is moving randomly due to the thermal motion, and the distance between any two molecules is changing due to this random thermal motion. So we can say that thermal motion of molecules can affect the distance between the molecules. Now we told earlier that thermal motion depends upon the temperature of the system. So how it depends upon the temperature? It's known that thermal motion is actually proportional to the temperature. So if we increase the temperature of the system, the thermal motion will be increased. That means the molecules will move faster. Now let's come to the second factor that controls the distance between the molecules. The second factor, or factor 2, is the intermolecular attraction. So intermolecular attraction is the attraction force that acts between the molecules. Now we will see that what happens when two molecules attract each other. So here are the two molecules. So when two molecules attracts, they want to come closer, as we have just seen. So due to the attraction, the distance between two molecules decreases. So mathematically we can say that attraction is inversely proportional to the intermolecular distance. Intermolecular distance is basically the distance between the molecules. Now we have seen earlier that the intermolecular distance will be increased as we go from solid to liquid to gas. Now as the intermolecular distance is inversely proportional to the attraction, so we can conclude that intermolecular attraction will be decreased if we go from solid to liquid to gas. So for solid, the intermolecular attraction will be the highest, and for gas, the intermolecular attraction will be the lowest. So at this point, we can understand the fact that the different states of a matter arises only due to the difference in the distance between the molecules. So we can say the factors which determine the distance between the molecules are actually the factors which determine the states of matter. These factors are thermal motion and intermolecular attraction. We have just discussed about these two factors. So these two factors actually act in an opposite fashion. Thermal motion kicks the molecules to move randomly, but intermolecular attraction holds the molecule against their thermal motions. So the relative magnitude of these two factors, which are thermal motion and intermolecular attraction, actually determine the distance between the molecules. And the distance between the molecules results different states of matter. Now we know that if we move from solid to liquid to gas, the intermolecular attraction decreases. For solid, the intermolecular attraction is much more stronger than the magnitude of thermal motion. As the intermolecular attraction is stronger, the molecules are always in close contact. They are held very tightly. And here, as the thermal motion is negligible compared to the intermolecular attraction, the molecule cannot move. That's the reason why solids cannot flow. For liquid, there is a balance between the intermolecular attraction and thermal motion. Neither of these two factors is dominating. So molecules can be in close contact due to the attraction. Also, they can move due to the thermal motion. As they can move due to the thermal motion, the liquid can flow. Now, for gas, the intermolecular attraction is almost zero. So here, the thermal motion actually dominates the orientation of molecules. So as the intermolecular attraction is negligible, the molecules are never in close contact. And as the thermal motion dominates in magnitude, the molecules always move randomly. Now we will discuss the effect of temperature on the states of matter. So how temperature affects the states of matter? We know that thermal motion is proportional to the temperature of the system. So at low temperature, the magnitude of thermal motion is low, and at high temperature, the magnitude is high. So at low temperature, the magnitude of thermal motion can be so small that molecular attraction can dominate over the thermal motion. Now we have seen here that when intermolecular attraction dominates over thermal motion, the solid state is preferred. So we can say that at low temperature, the tendency to form solid increases. Now what's about the high temperature? At high temperature, the magnitude of thermal motion can be so large that thermal motion can dominate over the molecular attraction. And we have seen here that if thermal motion dominates over intermolecular attraction, gaseous state is preferred. So we can say that at high temperature, the tendency to form gas increases. So for solid to liquid to gas, we need to increase the temperature, because at low temperature solid state is preferred, and at high temperature gaseous state is preferred. So if we want to go from solid to liquid to gas, we need to increase the temperature. And to increase the temperature, what we need? We need to heat the system. On the other hand, if we want to convert gas to liquid and liquid to solid, we need to decrease the temperature. So to decrease the temperature of the system, what we need? We need to cool the system. So in today's lecture, we have understood the meaning of the term states of matter. We have discussed the physical properties of different states of matter, and we have also understood the different states of matter very clearly by going to the molecular level. So we will come with our next lecture very soon, where we will cover the things which we have proposed. So we will basically cover the gaseous states and their kinetic theories, and we will also discuss about the kinetic energy and velocity part of the gas molecules. So thank you so much for watching this video, and if you think that this video is helpful for you, then like and share as much as you can. And if you don't want to miss a single update from our channel, please click the bell icon to subscribe the channel. Thank you so much.